about Rockabye Hamlet. We have some fans in the audience. Okay, so Rockabye Hamlet opened at the Minskoff in 1976, a rock and roll adaptation of Hamlet. The show was originally called Kronberg 1582. Cliff Jones was commissioned to write it by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. A huge hit in Canada, the show had interest from producers for a Broadway run. They brought out legendary director Gower Champion to check it out. The director of Bye Bye Birdie and Hello Dolly, who we've talked about several times tonight, was in a low point in his career, and while he had once said he didn't have the right style for rock musicals, he was intrigued by working in a completely new genre.
One idea that particularly excited Champion was the idea of an interracial rock Hamlet. This was pretty innovative in '76, and the Broadway cast included Larry Marshall, Alan Weeks, Beverly D'Angelo, Leanna Galloway, who had also been in Soon, Scott talked about her, Kim Milford, and Meatloaf. My friend Doug Katsaros made his Broadway debut doing arrangements for this show and told me a bunch of very cool stories about it, including that Meatloaf was writing Bat Out of Hell backstage during Rockabye Hamlet. It's pretty cool. I know what that is, but really I was like, well, what musical is Bat Out of Hell? No, not really. In Hamlet, Prince Hamlet exacts revenge, all of you know this, on his uncle Claudius for murdering his father, the king. A rock extravaganza version of this well-known tragedy seemed innovative too.
The production was a huge stage-like rock concert, with giant ramps, bridges, floating staircases, and more high-wattage lighting than any other Broadway show at the time. Producer Joe Kipnis thought the only way to do the show right would be to make it $1 million production, which at the time was a huge capitalization. After Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar, everyone wanted to create the next huge rock musical success.
That looks like Christopher Walken, but it's not. I'm always fooled.
Also looks like He-Man.
The show's score was outrageous, with song titles including, wait for it, Hamlet Must Die, Get Thee to a Nunnery, He Got It in the Ear, and the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Boogie. On opening night, the New York Times wrote, Rockabye Hamlet is a pungent mixture of the flashy and the vulgar. This is like, the writer, Mr. Jones, is a second-rate musician with a third-rate mind. Just like out to get people. His lyrics throughout the long, short evening were deplorable. They started at a low and never got up. They ranged from softcore rock to country and western, although I was not quite sure of what country. And the audience seemed to love the show.
Seemed, but did they really?
But perhaps they wouldn't have liked Hamlet, and not many of them looked young enough to appreciate actual rock. This is crazy. Actually, it's true. You'll hear about it later, but Rockabye Hamlet sold out a bunch of its previews. Like, people were digging it. People were like, this is awesome. Like, you know, it was right around Jesus Christ Superstar. People were loving it.
In Show Business magazine, Leo Schull wrote, the scenery, dancing, singing, and athletics, sword play too, are spectacular. The audience rose to its feet on opening night several times. I know that Stuart Klein and Pia Lindstrom gave it raves, but Doug Watt, Clive Barnes, The Boot, and I wonder if the five of us saw the same show, or don't I have 20/20 vision? I prefer the audience's optical lenses and mine.
Every bit of the story had a rock and roll edge. Ophelia committed suicide by strangling herself with her microphone cord. The New Yorker likened the Minskoff to a big rumpus room. In fact, at first sales were poor, but as previews continued, audiences who saw the show really did love it, and ticket sales took off. The show was standing room only for several of the 21 previews. NBC even had interest in investing, and then the reviews happened. Crazy. Here to give you a taste of Rockabye Hamlet, playing les artistes Taylor Trench, and welcome back Amanda, Monet, Danielle, Ryan, Kelvin, and Chris.
your father. I'll have revenge, you shall have your revenge. Take your sword, O King of Danes, 'cause I'm going to relay